V. Premalata. She pursued her undergraduate in BSc Biology at the University of Madras. She then went on to do her teaching degree in the University of Madras. Taking a keen interest in Sanskrit, she then studied Masters in Sanskrit with Karnataka Open University. She pursued her MPhil, which was on Gorakshanata's Amanask Yoga, which is a unique treatise that explains yoga, which is benefit of mind. She continued her studies with a doctorate in Sthala Vrakshas in the Puranas, a biosocial study. Her focus on research is mainly in different fields of biological science from ancient Sanskrit treatises.
Suswagatam. Welcome to UGC lecture series in Sanskritam. Now we continue with the marvels of our horticulturists. The wonders of ancient Indian horticulture continues with the lilies becoming Karavira plant. Such transformations and other like the banana giving mangoes and pomegranate trees are some of the wonders that hardly be deciphered, because we are taken by surprise and we really do not know the scientific basis of one family of tree giving rise to the other family of tree. Suppose we do some laboratory tests, it might reveal the mystery in this. Introduction of the new topic which deals with the prognosis of growth continues in this episode also, and it also tells the decline in prosperity of the nation by observing the growth of certain varieties of plants and other aspects of the economics of plant are dealt with, and portending the future of the country economically and otherwise are also discussed in this episode. Now, continuing the Vichitra Karanam, we come to the water lily producing Karavira plants. Mahisha Karisha Mutraihi Mridita Visushkam Dinani Yet Sapta Kumudapala Pija Muptam Janayati Karavira Vitapam Tat. Initially, water lily seeds are smeared with buffalo dung and urine and dried for a week. When these treated seeds are sown, a Karavira tree springs from them. So, water lily belongs to the Nymphea family, Nymphaceae, and Karavira is Apocynaceae. How can one family give rise to another plant from the other family? Morphologically, they are very distinctly different, but it happens, otherwise it will not be recorded in Upavana Vinoda, and it has something to do with buffalo dung and urine, because buffalo dung and urine also contains enzymes, hormones and other nutrients, and that has something to do with the transformation of the species. So, we are yet to find out about this. See, this is Kumuda. Kumuda is an aquatic or the hydrophyte, and Karavira is totally different. It is a mesophyte which grows in the land. See the morphological difference in the habitat and the leaves and the flowers and so on, but from Kumuda to Karavira the transformation is there, vouchsafes Upavana Vinoda, and we have to believe it. Now, coming to the seedless gourd and other plants. Kushmanda Vartaka Patolakadi Bijam Vasa Bhavitam Uptasiktam Vishodhitayam Bhuvi Sarvakalam Palani Anasthini Mahanti Dhatte. Seedless gourd, brinjal is eggplant, and snake gourd, and when all these are treated with vasa and then sown in a prepared plant bed, and this treatment is continued uninterrupted, they bear huge seedless fruits. Not only are they huge, but they are anasthini, they are without the seeds. Then we again come to the eggplant or the brinjal. Vartaka bijam grita makshik arka visoshitam gomaya liptarandre balasya kushmanda phalasya taptam pakvat grihitam phalitam mahatsyat. The brinjal seeds smeared with honey and ghee placed inside a hole filled with cow dung get doused in the juice of tender gourd, and they are dried under the sun. Treated thus, the yield of fruits is plentiful. First, the brinjal seeds should be smeared with ghee and honey, and a pit should be made and filled with cow dung. The seeds should be placed inside the hole and they get doused. You pour the juice of tender gourd on that and then they are dried in the sun and they are treated, sown, and the yield of fruits is plentiful. Mandara drumarandhre ya kaushmandi nirgata lata mrit gomaya grite tasmin sikte phalati sa sada. If soil, cow dung and ghee are mixed together and be smeared on the gourd creeper growing out of a hole of a mandara tree. Mandara bauhinia is a different family and it perpetually yields plenty of fruits. So, you take the seeds of a gourd creeper, mix it with soil, cow dung and ghee, and then you plant it in the hole of a mandara tree, and if it sprouts from that, I do not know what the association of mandara does to the gourd creeper. It should be doing something really good, otherwise there will not be perpetual yield of plenty of fruits. So, the mandara in association with gourd creeper lends some aspect of it that the gourd creeper perpetually yields plenty of fruits. This is one of the wonders. We come to the other great wonder. Let us see what it is. Sukara asrik vasa siktam angola taila bhavitam eranda bijam karanji phalam sote atikautukam. If castor seeds are doused with the blood and fat of the pig, immersed in ankola oil and sown, then karanji fruits grow out of them, which is astonishing. The castor seeds, they should be soaked in the blood and fat of pig and then again immersed in alangium or ankola oil. We have come across ankola oil enhancing the growth in many verses now. We are very familiar with that. And if these seeds are treated thus and sown, what do we have? We have Pongamia fruits, Karanja fruits growing out of them, which is astonishing. Now, let us see the pictures of Castor ricinus communis and see the compound leaves and the structure of the fruits, inflorescence, everything. Even the seed looks quite different because the seeds resemble insects and the birds, thinking that they are insects, pick them and they are used in dispersal. So, it is distinctly different from Pongamia, which has flat big seeds, and they are two distinctly different trees belonging to different families. In spite of it, you can get Karanja from castor. We come to the other wonder. Kara turaga with niveshita tapitaya ya shalakaya mole tiryak vidha kadali phalati phalam karika akaram. So, if one coats a heated rod with the excreta of ass and a horse and introduce it into the root of a banana tree obliquely, the fruits that the tree produces will be so huge that they resemble an elephant. I mean, this could be an exaggeration, I do not know. Maybe by saying this, they denote the hugeness of the fruit, and this has the excreta of ass and a horse. Maybe the ass and a horse, they excrete something very special with hormones and enzymes and nutrients that helps the banana tree, and the root of the banana tree should be pierced obliquely, slantingly, and the tree produces huge fruits like elephants. Kola shonita medobhyam ankola kvatitena cha sinchita kadali sute dadimi phalam uttamam. If the blood and fat of the hog and oil of ankola tree is sprinkled on to the banana tree, then it puts forth excellent pomegranate fruits. So, if the banana tree could produce pomegranate fruits with the help of blood and fat of hog and oil of ankola tree, it is a wonder indeed. So, this is the banana tree, and look at the tree, it is a monocot tree, and this is the pomegranate or dadima tree. Monocots are distinctly different from the dicots, and their venation, their morphological features, their roots in anatomical features like the vascular bundles, they are very different and they are one seeded, and this Dadima is a dicotyledonous tree. How can that be produced in a banana tree? It is mind boggling, but they have achieved it. Nara mamsa vasa rakta danti danta vichurnitaihi mishtritena ambasa sikta rambha chutapala bhavet. Wonders never seem to cease with Upavana Vinoda. Banana tree gives mangoes. When elephant's tusk is powdered, mixed with flesh, fat and blood of cadaver and given to a banana tree, mango fruits are produced from it. So, this is the mango tree. Look at the mango tree, it is distinctly different from banana tree. So, banana tree gives rise to mangoes. Now, we come to mango tree giving fruits like grapes. Ankola kvatitam svinnam drimamsam chagadugdayuk pinyaka sahitam mule sahakarasya nikshipet. Drakshavalli samakarah sahakarah sada phalah jayate nishchitam dhatte sarvesham adbhutam yadi. Ankola broth mixed with human flesh and goat's milk along with sesame paste should be placed under the root of a mango tree. Then the tree bears fruits abundantly like grapevines. Have you seen grapevine plants, creepers with lots of grapes? It will be completely filled, you can't even see the foliage. This is a matter of great surprise. So, Ankola broth, which triggers growth, as you all know now, it is mixed with human flesh and goat's milk with sesame paste, and it should be placed under the root of a mango tree, and the tree bears fruits like grapevines. Shashakurma Shrik Madhye Bahu Bhavitam Amrajam Bijam Rudham Siktam Dugdaihi Phalati Phalam Sarvakaleshu. If mango seeds are treated a multitude of times with the blood of rabbit and tortoise and its roots sprinkled with milk, it bears fruits at all seasons. So, the mango trees are doused in the blood of rabbit and tortoise. Rabbits can be found in the forest because in those days there were many forests and it was not a rarity. And tortoise was also not a rarity and they could be obtained easily, and mango seeds were soaked in the blood of these animals and the roots were sprinkled with milk, and all seasons you can get mangoes. Krimi ripu yava yashti madhu guda dukda vilepanena nimbataruhu bhavati jala dukta siktah swabhava tiktopi madhura palah. As you all know, the nature of neem tree is tikta, is bitter. The leaves are bitter, the fruits are bitter, the flowers are bitter, everything is bitter about the neem tree. But the nimba tree, which is bitter by nature, produces sweet tasting fruits. How does that happen? If a paste made of vidanga, that is vermifuge, that is krimi ripo, denoted by that word, yashti madhu, molasses and milk are applied to it, and the bitterness of nimba disappears. It produces sweet tasting fruits, and it is really good if it produces sweet tasting fruits because it is used in a number of medicines that we take. If it is sweet tasting, it is very easy to take those medicines. Bijam narapala ankola taila svinnam shubham sada udgachati mrida purnam ambasiktam kare kshanat. Any seed sown after treating with human flesh and ankola oil covered by a handful of soil completely wet with water sprouts immediately. Now, you will have to take the seeds, mix human flesh and ankola oil, and you will have to cover it with a handful of soil, and after coating it with soil, you will have to sprinkle some water on that and make it completely wet and then sow them. Then they will sprout immediately. Ankola taila bhavitam ushitam गो शकृति कुमुद कंद मलम करक अंबु कर्धमभृते कलशः कुसुमं समुद्वहति. By soaking the bulbs of water lily in ankola oil and again in cow dung, then transferring it to a pot with hail water with mud, the water lily flowers bloom very well. So, first you soak the bulbs of water lily in ankola oil, which enhances growth, as we all know, and again in cow dung, and then transfer it to a pot with hail water and mud. Water lily grows in the mud, so it loves mud, and the flowers bloom very well. Go kola asti karishaisto dagdhe garde vishodhite uptam cha valukapurne moolakam gardavad bhavet. The excreta of cow and hog along with bones are burnt and the pit is treated with that. First a pit is made and treated with the excreta of cow and hog along with bones. Seeds of radish are sown in that pit and the radish will grow and occupy the whole pit. The tubers will grow and occupy the whole pit. The tubers will be so huge that it will occupy the entire pit and it becomes as big as that pit. It will be so huge. इष्टकचिते समन्तात् पुरुषनिखाते वटे तरुः जातः वामन एव हि धत्ते फलकुसुमं सर्वकालमिति. So, now we come to an entire new discovery. India used to produce bonsai trees. Bonsai trees are dwarfed trees. They will be miniature trees. In bonsai, you prune the roots and make the tree not grow and make it stunted. The growth is stunted by that procedure, but here it is a different procedure altogether. If a pit is bound by bricks all around, that measures 4.5 cubits and a tree is sown in that, its growth is stunted and though short statured, it gives rise to flowers and fruits during all seasons. Even though the tree is dwarfed and short statured, the size of the fruit will remain the same. It will be the fruit that you see in a normal tree, a tree with normal growth, that is a huge tree. It is not a miniature tree. As if it is a huge tree, the fruits will appear, and all that you need to do is not prune the roots much to the agony of the trees, but construct a wall with bricks all around the pit, which measures 4.5 cubits, and the tree is sown inside that. A sapling is taken and sown inside that pit where a brick wall is constructed all around, and then the growth of the tree is stunted, checked by the brick wall. The roots cannot grow further, and then the growth is stunted and becomes short statured, and this short statured tree or the miniature tree gives rise to flowers and fruits during all season. Not only does it give rise to fruits and flowers normally, but at all seasons. So, these are the bonsai or the dwarfed plants or the miniature plants, and you can see with the apple tree bearing normal sized fruit, and you can see the orange tree and the other trees bearing fruits of normal size and the flowers. Now, we come to the study of agroeconomics. So, in this we come across some certain species of trees predicting the plenitude of other trees and certain portents that we are going to dwell. Let us see what it is, and it is also in Brihat Samhita chapter number 29. Pala kusuma patra vriddhim vanaspatinam vilokya vigneyam sulabhatvam dravyanam nishpattihi cha api sasyanam. By observing the rate of growth of trees, the yield of the crops and its viability from the economic angle can be assessed. Nyagrodhena to यवक तिन्दुक वृद्धया च षष्टिको भवति अश्वत्थेन ज्ञेया निष्पत्तिः सर्वसस्यानां. The following trees can be observed for the assessment of growth of certain plant species. From the growth of banyan, yavaka, from tinduka, shali rice, from ashwatha, the growth of all kinds of plants are known. Then jambubihi stalamasha shirisha vruddhaya cha mudga nishpattihi godhumas madhukaihi yavavruddhihi saptaparnena. So from jambu we know about the growth of masha, from shirisha mugdha, from madhuka godhuma, and from saptaparna yava. All these can be predicted. Karinascha hasti karnaihi nirdeshya vajinah ashvakarnena gavascha patalabihi kadalibihi ajavikam bhavati. Even the animal kingdom's reproduction can be predicted by the growth of the following trees, which corresponds to the reproductive rate of the respective animals. From Hastikarna elephants, Ashvakarna horses, from cows, Patala goats, plantain. Amrehi chemam ballatakaihi bhayam Pilubihi tatharogyam Khadira shamibhyam durbiksham arjunaihi shobhana vrishtihi. So, the prediction of future tidings by the abundance of the following list of trees is possible, declares the text. From the abundance of mangoes, well-being of the nation. From Ballataka, fear. From Pilu, sound health of the citizens. From Kadira and Shami, famine. And Arjuna, copious rains are predicted. Pichumanda Nagakusumaihi Subiksham Atha Marutah Kapithena Nichilena Vrishti-bhayam Vyadi-bhayam Bhavati Kutajena. From neem and Nagakusuma trees, one can know the prosperity of crops. From Kapitha tree, the fear of storm. Nichula tree indicates fear of drought. Kutaja indicates the fear from diseases. Now we come to the end of the predictions, and I must make a note here saying that the measure in ancient India like Karahasta and Purusha vary, and it is not determined accurately since we do not know the basis of which a man's height was determined. Some authors are of the opinion that a man's height is 6 feet and some others disagree. The growth may vary from time and region, and this has to be taken into consideration, and only approximate measurements can be given. Now, to summarize today's episode, the transformation that one can perceive in a Kumuda plant, the banana and the castor seeds, when they sprout totally new varieties of fruits and flowers, that is a rarity that we came across in today's lecture. The incessant fruition of trees, the hugeness of fruits and tubers that are stunning by novel techniques of horticulture, they were enumerated. A new topic on the economics of horticulture, and the poets made an interesting observation today. Now the questions: what are the herbs used in Kumuda plant for it to produce Karavira? How does the castor plant produce Pangamia tree? How can one rear bonsai or dwarf plants? Name the plants and their plenitude portending well-being, and so on. Which are the plants whose growth is predicted by the abundance of Jamun, Sirisha, Madhuka and Saptaparna trees? With this, we conclude the lecture series Upavana Vinoda. Please grow a lot of plants and trees and enjoy. Dhanyavadaha.